Webull investors, welcome back to the channel. We're heading into the weekend with Webull stock closing the week at $16.01, up nearly 4% in Friday's session. It capped off what has been a fairly volatile stretch for the stock, big swings, heavy trading volume, and now a setup that could make the week ahead especially interesting. In this video, we're going to dig into what's been driving Webull lately, why momentum is starting to build, and how one huge catalyst could potentially change the company's trajectory: the return of U.S. crypto trading through Webull Pay. So stick with me, because this is shaping up to be a fascinating story. Let's start with the basics. Webull finished Friday at $16.01, and what's notable is that the stock didn't just drift higher, it moved with conviction. The trading range saw a low around $15, a high above $16, and it closed near the upper end. That's typically a sign of strength, especially when combined with strong volume. For context, Webull shares have rallied more than 15% off their recent lows in just a handful of sessions. That's not a minor bounce, that's momentum. Now, we've seen Webull rally before, but what makes this time interesting is that it's happening alongside improvements in some of the technical indicators traders watch closely. In particular, Webull's relative strength rating, basically a measure of how the stock is performing compared to the broader market, has climbed into the mid-80s. For those who aren't familiar, that puts Webull in the top echelon of stocks right now in terms of relative performance. When you're pushing into the 80s on RS, that's a sign the market is starting to recognize leadership potential. But of course, we have to pair the technical picture with the fundamentals. And here's where the Webull story gets interesting. The company recently turned a corner financially, reporting its first profitable quarter since going public. That's a big milestone, and one that investors had been waiting for. Profitability signals that Webull's model is starting to scale effectively, with revenue growth now covering operating costs and more. On top of that, Webull has set itself up with flexibility. They've secured a $1 billion standby equity facility. Think of that like a financial backstop. It gives them the firepower to pursue growth initiatives without having to scramble for capital in the short term. Combine that with more than 24 million registered users and over $12 billion in assets on their platform, and you've got a broker that is no longer a niche player. Webull has scale, it has credibility, and it now has profitability. That's the trifecta that puts it in a stronger position heading into the next stage of growth. And that next stage may very well be crypto. For those following closely, Webull has been maneuvering to reintegrate Webull Pay LLC, which is a necessary step to reintroduce U.S. crypto trading. Right now, crypto trading through Webull is available in some international markets, including Brazil, where early traction looks promising. But the real prize is the US, and management has hinted that they're targeting a relaunch in the third quarter of this year. If that timeline holds, we're not talking about some far-off catalyst, we're talking about something that could hit within the next couple of months. Why does this matter so much? Because retail investors love crypto trading, and platforms that can offer a seamless experience in both equities and crypto tend to see stronger engagement, stickier customers, and higher transaction volumes. We've seen how Robinhood leveraged crypto to boost growth, and Webull could be next in line to capitalize on that same dynamic. The consolidation of Webull Pay under the corporate umbrella signals they're serious about bringing this to market in a compliant, structured way. Let's talk charts for a moment. Webull has been consolidating in the $15 to $16 range, but now we're knocking on the door of $17, which is an important resistance level. If Webull can break above 17 with strong volume, you could see momentum traders pile in and drive the stock toward 18 or even 19 in the short term. That's the technical bull case. On the flip side, if resistance holds and the stock pulls back, the $15 level becomes key support. As long as that holds, the uptrend remains intact. The risk, of course, is that if Webull slips under 15 with heavy selling, the technical picture deteriorates and momentum fades quickly. So the levels to watch heading into next week are clear: 17 to the upside, 15 to the downside. What I'm sensing, though, is that sentiment around Webull is shifting. A few weeks ago, the narrative was dominated by concerns over regulatory uncertainty and competition. And those risks are still real. Regulators continue to scrutinize retail brokers, and the competitive landscape with Robinhood, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab is intense. But the tone in the market now feels more constructive. Instead of focusing on the risks, investors are increasingly talking about the opportunities: profitability, crypto, and user growth. You can see this shift reflected in the trading activity. When dips are being bought quickly, that's a sign that investors are positioning for further upside rather than bailing out. And when a stock climbs while the broader market is choppy, that tells you money is rotating into it selectively. Webull is starting to show those patterns. So what does all of this mean for the week ahead? First, watch the technical levels closely. $17 is the immediate hurdle. Second, keep an eye out for any updates from the company regarding Webull Pay and the crypto relaunch. Even a hint of confirmation could move the stock. Third, remember that momentum stocks can be volatile. A run-up like we've seen can reverse quickly if sentiment shifts, so it's important not to get complacent. That said, the risk-reward profile here looks increasingly compelling. You've got a company that just turned profitable, has secured a financial backstop, is growing its user base, and may soon reintroduce one of the most engaging and profitable product lines it's ever had. Layer on top of that the technical momentum and the improving sentiment, and you have the ingredients for a potential breakout. And that's why I think the right question to ask heading into this weekend is Webull's next breakout going to be fueled by crypto? Because if US crypto trading really does come back on this platform, it could mark the start of a new chapter. And that's the type of story investors like to be early on. Of course, we'll need to see execution, regulatory approval, and sustained volume growth to validate that thesis. But for now, the setup looks promising. So as you enjoy the weekend and think about the week ahead, keep Webull on your radar. The stock has momentum, the fundamentals are improving, and the catalysts are lining up. Whether you're a trader looking for short-term action or a long-term investor considering the growth potential, Webull is becoming a name you can't ignore.